the economic aspect to what's taking place in Ukraine is crucial. And the war there is now taking a financial toll on Russia, that has lost many thousands of its servicemen. The deficit ran $47 billion last year, more than twice the projected amount. The finance ministers blamed it on social programmes. However, CNN's Clare Sebastian says the grinding conflict is more likely to blame.
More than 10 months into a war that he hoped to wrap up in days, President Putin is preparing his people for a long and costly battle.
We have no limits when it comes to financing. The country, the government, gives the army everything it asks for.
It's not just the high-tech drones and tanks or the new frigate loaded with hypersonic missiles. According to an estimate in July from British think tank Rusa, at the height of the fighting in the Donbass, Russia was burning through more ammunition in 2 days than the British military has in stock. The impact of that clearly showing up in the Russian budget.
Now, this was the official estimate for last year. Defence spending was expected to have grown by about 30% compared to 2021. National security spending, meanwhile, by about 20%. But oil and gas revenues were expected to grow by about a third. They ended up coming in higher than expected, according to the Finance Ministry, but so did spending, tipping the budget into a bigger than expected deficit. Now, this year, we're looking at more defence spending, a rise of about 6%. That's roughly in line with inflation. But add to that a 58% planned increase in national security spending and a complete reversal of last year's oil and gas windfall. And this means budget cuts.
Roads, agriculture, even healthcare all getting hit.
Money is not infinite, unlike what President Putin says. And I think he understands it's better than anybody else, because these authorities were in power already in the 90s, when Russia went through severe crisis, default, denomination, devaluation. And I think they remember that if that were to happen, it will be even faster way for them out of the office.
Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin.
Keeping Putin in power and fighting a war is expensive. Next year, Russia has allocated almost as much to national security, which also includes law enforcement, as it has to defense, according to the budget passed early last month. A sign Moscow may still intensify its crackdown on protest and dissent.
We all know that European solidarity...
And yet experts say even with an EU embargo on Russian seaborne oil, a price cap mechanism in place and lower energy prices, Russia is not facing an imminent budget crisis.
Well, we did not implement energy sanctions up until now, right? The embargo just came in. So what happened, Russian current account surpluses last year was more than 200 billion. So if you think about it, if you arrested about, say, roughly 300 billion in reserves, Russia already accumulated more than 200 billion just last year.
Pressure is still mounting. If the EU and G7 lower their oil price cap below $60 a barrel, that would likely hurt revenues. And technology sanctions make it harder for Russia to modernize its military. Still, behind the propaganda, it's clear Russia has a financial plan to fund this war, even as its people pay an ever-increasing price. Clare Sebastian, CNN, London.